Excuse me. If you did not know that, you need to write that down. You're going to need that all class period and all life, really. Okay. Hey, how do you know? What if you need to know the slope of which to hold your spatula? I only remembered the word spatula because I watched SpongeBob. Otherwise, I would not have remembered. SpongeBob is crazy funny. Okay, anyway. Let's just jump right into it. Today is a lot of geometry review. First slide, find slopes. We already did number 1. Raise your hand if there's one up here you'd like to see work, because it looks a little different than the others. Yes, 1.4. And after you find each slope, it wants you to say, is it rising, falling, horizontal, or vertical? What was the DOM? Rising, falling, horizontal, or vertical? Rising, because it's positive. Anything negative is going to be falling. Horizontal and vertical are the two most confused ones. I know a lot of you probably have a grasp on it, but if you don't, I always try to think of it as a slope is kind of your excitement level while you're skiing. The bigger your slope, the steeper it is. So like 7 slope, 1/7 slope. Amount of excitement you have. If you are skiing on an absolutely flat surface, that's 0 fun, 0 excitement. If you're skiing off a cliff, you can't even register excitement because you're about to die. So that's how I... Don't. Fine. But take it professional. Okay, so anywho. Is there one of these somebody wants to see? After you work them, tell me how the slope is, rise, fall, horizontal, vertical. Okay. Skipping on ahead. Use the given coordinates to write an equation in point slope and slope intercept form. Some of you, well, actually, before I get into that, who can tell me what point slope form is? What's the equation for point slope form? Yes, ma'am. That is slope intercept form. Y equals mx plus v. Who can tell me point slope form? It's the much less used of the two, but if you're given a point and a slope, which, if you can see, is what you're given all slide here. No. That is the quadratic equation, which we're going to be dealing with quite a bit. And I'm apparently the only person in the world who did not learn that song. Pop Goes the Weasel with the quadratic. We'll sing it later in the year. I don't want to ruin it now. Or Derek can sing it for all of us. Anyway, point slope form. Anybody? Here I go. Here's point slope. Man, I was going to give some homework pass if anybody could have told me. In fact, Allie, you can take one problem off your homework for trying and giving me slope intercept. That formula, the top one, is point slope form. And you would be extremely smart to start with that every time. If you are given a slope and a point, which is what you're given all the time here, you can just plug it in. The y and the x don't change. Y minus your y coordinate equals the slope times x minus your x coordinate. This part's done. All you have to do now is put it in slope intercept form. And all you have to do to that is just solve for y. When you solve for y, you're going to put it in slope intercept form. Add the 5. Boom, done. Point slope, slope intercept, finish. I'm glad you think so. What is the y-intercept of that equation? -1. The y-intercept, once you've got it here, is -1. Remember, it's the number without the x. Let's look at another one. How about 17? Y minus our y value equals the slope times x minus our x value. So it becomes y equals -4x. That'll be +4 times -4, so -16. Well, because this one has a 0, wait. Right here. Yeah, I'm doing 17. Yeah, that's right. Wait, that seems like an x-intercept. Shouldn't it be the... Oh, that's right, never mind. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here you go. There you go. Questions about any of these problems on the board? Is there one you'd like to see? Is there a question you have about one that's up there? Yes, sir. Yes, it is this formula. Yes. Slope intercept is y equals. Point slope is the longer one where y doesn't equal. Another question. Alrighty. While we're doing this, what if I didn't give you a point? What if I said, I'm not going to give you a point, but I will tell you that the x-intercept is 3. What coordinate is that? What coordinate is an x-intercept of 3? What? Y-intercept would be 0, 3, and x-intercept would be 3, 0. Some of these are going to give you stuff like this. Well, not like this. We'll come back. Like this. We're going to. I just skipped 3 slides because I got ahead of myself because I didn't see where we were going. But if they give you something like this, immediately convert them into coordinates. X-intercepts are just going to have a 0 for the y. Y-intercepts are going to have a 0 for the x. So if you see something like that, convert it to a coordinate first, and then it's no different than some of the others that we should have already done, but I skipped. So let's go back and do those. Origin, what point is that? 0, 0. These 3 are exactly like the last ones we did. Point, slope. Take a look up here, see if there's one you want to see. They're going to work out the same as the last ones, but I can work one if you'd like to see it. Sorry? 23. Y minus my y value equals the slope times x minus my x value. So that's y plus 2 equals negative 2/3 x negative 2/3 times 6 over 1. So that negative 12 over 3, which reduces to what? What's negative 12 over 3 reduced to? 4. So now we need to subtract the 2. Oh, well, technically we're done right here with point slope. For slope intercept, you just subtract the 2 over minus 6. And there's your slope intercept. Yes, sir. I put that. Where did I mess that up? Oh, here. Right. So that'd be positive 4, meaning when I subtracted the 2, that would be positive 2, not negative 6. Thank you. Wow, that's a really bad plus sign. Thank you. I've been dropping my negatives like crazy. Y'all have to keep me honest on that. I don't know why I keep doing that. Ricky, enough with the potato juice. Drink some orange juice. More vitamins. You know, I might if it would change your drinking habits. We're going to stop talking about this. Okay. What was I going to tell you? Oh, yes. This brings up a good point. On your tests, I give partial credit like a madman if you show work. Now, I know some of you aren't work showers. I get it. I wasn't either. But, like, take this. I missed a negative. You show all that work. I see you did it, but I see your answer's wrong. But I see just because you missed a negative, that's all but maybe 1 or 2 of your points that you get. Maybe 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 for that question. If you just show your answers, I mean, that's fine. I'm not going to take off, just for not showing your work. But if you were to miss that answer, and I didn't have anywhere to see that all you did was miss a negative sign, I have no choice but to give you no points for that question. So it benefits you to show your work. I don't require it, but I would strongly suggest it for that reason, because it's just hard to be absolutely perfect on everything, especially if you like to go fast. Anyway, so for these, exact same thing as the last few problems. The only difference is, what do we have to find first? You're right, but to find point slope form, we have to find the slope. So like 29, finding the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's 5 over 5. Ooh, 1. That's easy. So, now, once I have the slope, which coordinate do I use for my formula? Does not matter. It will work out the exact same. So, let's use the 2, 4. Y minus 4, slope, x minus 2. That part's done. Now I have to put it in slope-intercept form. Add the 4. Shebang. And you're done. Point slope, slope-intercept. So if it gives you multiple points, you just have to find the slope first, but none of the work changes. Questions?
So why did 2, 4, 9?
Oh, I just chose that one. You could choose -3, -1. That would have made this y plus 3 and x plus 1. So that part would be different, but this would work out the same. That's why it doesn't matter which one you choose. Does somebody have a question in the back? I thought I saw a hand. Sure. You mean like the one we just did? Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I just do a different one real quick, and I'll go slower and talk about that. 31. Slope 6 minus -2, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. That becomes 8 over 6, which reduces to what? 4 over 3. All right. Catherine, which point do you want to use? Okay. No big deal. But you have 2 points. You only need 1. So which one do you want to use? The first one it is. So y minus y1. That's just you literally plug in your y coordinate. So minus your y coordinate equals your slope. Let me rewrite the formula up here. It was y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So that's where my y coordinate went in. My slope and my x coordinate goes in right here. Let me get some more space. Alright. You with me so far? You don't sound like you're confident in that. But that's technically the end for the first part. That is point slope form. All I did was plug my slope in here, which I just found, my y coordinate in here, and my x coordinate in here. Now, are you with me? Okay, that sounded much better. So that's y plus 2 equals 4/3 x, and then 4/3 times 3 is just 4. Subtract the 2, and finished. Right here? Right here? Here. Yeah. So it's 4/3 times, see I did it times the x, then I did it times the 3. That's 12/3, which reduces to 4. Good question, good question. In fact, somebody last block, this is just a little review because you are going to need to know it today. Somebody last block had to do, assuming they were doing it right, I guess I should have asked. How do I do that? That's right. First change it to a fraction. Can I add it now? No. You need a common what? So how do I get a common denominator? Multiply the top and bottom by 4. Yeah. Remember, when you add and subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. When you multiply, you can just go straight across. So, and I can help you with that later during the work, but that's something you definitely want to keep in mind. All right. Okay. Oh, now I think these make more sense. Same exact thing, but if it gives you intercepts, if you convert them to coordinates first, now it's just like the last ones we did. You have 2 points, find the slope, plug it in.
You need 2 points.
Yes. Only reason they give you 2. Questions? Alright. Alrighty. Give the slope, y-intercept of each line, and then graph it. Okay? You are lazy, sir. And I thought I was lazy. Well, I am lazy. But you're lazy too. I bet you're good at math, aren't you? Lazy people and math just go together. Why do you think math uses so many like little acronyms and stuff? Just because we're lazy. Like seriously, that's why. Okay. What's the slope of 39? 2. It's never being multiplied by the x. Thank you. Good job, guys. What's the slope on 41? 43? 45? You see how much faster this goes when people just say answers? 47? Oh man, loving it. This would have taken 5 minutes yesterday. Y-intercept, straight across. Excellent. The number not with the x. Now when it comes to graphing, I'm only going to do one of these. You will have to graph all of them, but I don't want to bore you by doing all of them. But, you're welcome. You're talking to him. Doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. 43. Y-intercept, -2. I'm just going to choose to graph 43 because it looks different. Slope, 3/4. Rise of a run, up 3/4. Once you have 2 points, the rest of it's just connect the dots. Boom. There's your graph. Graph your y-intercept, plot out 1 slope point, and go. What about 45? I'll just do it on the same graph. Y-intercept of 7, which I'm totally just going to sketch. Ish. -3/5. Down 3/5. Connect the dots. Bam. Granted, that was about as quick sketched as you can possibly get. I didn't even draw in my dashes, but yeah. Anyway. Questions about graphing these things? They're going to ask you to graph in like every section. I'll tell you what, every time it says graph, you can just graph any one from those sections. I don't need to see 1,000 graphs. They're all going to be the same. Just graph exactly one from each section. Alright. That's the first thing, kind of applause I've gotten this year. Okay. Alrighty. Graph each equation in a rectangular coordinate system. Now if it asks you to graph and only graph, well then that's different. I'll need to see those because that's the only, but you can put it all in one coordinate plane. How about that? All in one coordinate plane. Just label them. No, I need black axes. Because it sticks out better. Well, I would have done white axes, but that would have looked... That doesn't show up very well. Okay. Now, when you graph these, common mistakes are, like y equals -2. People think y, they think vertical. Actually, they're kind of backwards in that regard. Oh, come on. My pen went crazy. They're kind of backwards. You want to go to y equals -2, the coordinate, and then draw a line through it. So, this one will look like this. That's y equals -2. It's actually horizontal going through that y value. X equals -3. And that's going to be vertical going through x equals -3-ish. It shouldn't be sloped. What about 55? What do you think? Horizontal or vertical? Horizontal, because f of x stands for y. So that basically says y equals 1. What about 57? What do I do there? I beg your pardon? That's right. Solve for the x, basically. Divide and graph it from there. Same as 51. Questions? You can when we're done. And we're almost there. 57? Who asked that? We solved for x, so we just added the 18 divided by the 3 just so we could put it in. Alrighty. Alright. Let's see. Rewrite the given equation in slope-intercept form. Give the slope and intercept and graph. Again, you only have to graph one of them. Let's see. Give it in slope-intercept form. What's the easiest way to convert anything to slope-intercept form? Solve for y. That's right. So let's do 63. Yeah, but that's too short. Alright, 63. Let's throw the y on the other side. I added that to both sides. Divide by 4. Boom! Slope-intercept form. What's my slope? Y-intercept. Boom. And then you have to graph them, but it'll be just like the last one. Graph your y-intercept. I'm just going to really fast. Graph your y-intercept. Slope up 2 over 1. Connect the dots. Shoo-bam. You know what? He was talking about my line. I appreciate that. I can't please people. Alright. Questions about what it's asking you to do there. Solve for y. Extract your intercept and slope once you've solved it for y. And then graph any one of them. Alright. Last slide. Use the intercept to graph the equation. Again, you only have to graph one of them. You know what? You don't even have to graph any of these. Please note in somewhere in your notes, when you get to these 67 through 72, you don't have to graph them. You will have already graphed 5 or 6 of them. All I need you to do is get your intercepts. Thinking time. A y-intercept. Let's say I say your y-intercept of this equation is 3. What is the actual coordinate for that y-intercept? 0, 3. Your x is 0. The way to pull intercepts out of an equation are just plug in 0 for the other variable. So like for 67, if I'm looking for my y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for x, which gives me negative 2y minus 12 equals 0. Because this goes away when you plug in 0 for x. Solve. Divide. And your y-intercept is negative 6. To find your x-intercept, you just flip it. Plug in 0 for the y. Divide by 6. Boom. And you've got your x-intercept and your y-intercept, and that's all I really need to see. That you can extract those. Plug in 0 for the other variable to get your intercept. Questions? Alright. There you go. Every other even.